This video is sponsored by DistroKid. Save 7% on your first year membership by visiting the link in the description of the video.
It's your boy John Mike.
What up with you guys? You know who it is. It's your boy Jean-Michel. I just like doing that as opposed to just saying your boy John Mike. It just feels good rolling off the tongue. Jean-Michel. Makes me feel more, I don't know. Bougie is not the word, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. I had some requests for people to have me show how to use the Raven in Logic, or basically my workflow of how I use it in Logic. So I wanted to showcase this, and plus because I didn't really see any videos when I was going in and really researching this thing, I didn't really see anybody. A lot of people were talking about it, but nobody actually showed, yo, this is how you use it in Logic. This is how you do it. This is my workflow. This is how it functions. So I'm gonna talk about that today. So let's dig into it. So I'm here in Logic. I have my default setup kind of loaded up, and this is kind of how I function and how I've set up the batch commander to kind of work for me. And this area down here is pretty much Slate's proprietary software that works on the Raven. Some cool things about it is you cannot click this with the mouse. So if I take my mouse and I try to click this play button, it doesn't do anything. I think that's really, really cool. It only responds to touch. So it only responds when I touch it. So that's really cool because that means you cannot inadvertently click, something in the batch command area with your mouse. It happens, we click whatever, you can't mess anything up that way. It's literally only responds to the touch. So I think that's a really neat kind of way that they thought about with that or what have you. That's really, really cool. So again, I have it set up in my own custom way, and I talked about this in my kind of grievance video, that with the batch commander, some of these default kind of buttons didn't really work for me. So I end up setting up some key commands or some batch commands that kind of work for my workflow, just common things that I use all of the time, like capture recording or whatever. So if I'm playing something out here, let's say I got my, let's see if I got this open or whatever, and I'm playing this out here, and I'm actually recording. I record some bars or whatever, and I stop. I have a button for capture recording where I can just tap that because I use that a whole lot. A lot of times I'm just listening and when I'm doing a track, I'm just kind of vibing to what I'm doing. So a lot of times I'm playing and I'll do a take and I'm like, oh, that sounded really good. I want to keep that even though I didn't actually press the record button. So capture recording comes in to play in my workflow a lot. So I had to create a button for that. Other little things like split at play head, where I can literally just click here and go split at play head and cut that out, and then copy, and then jump over here and hit paste, you know what I'm saying? Or loop that section, or set locators over that, or bounce in place, you know what I'm saying? Like it'll literally just go and bounce that in place. So, little buttons and little things like that with my workflow, it's the way that I kind of do. I set those things up because they didn't have those commands like loaded in there by default. I just said, these are the ones that I use all of the time, the things that I do. So it really helps with that or what have you. So that's always going to be my suggestion, because I've seen a lot of videos where people are talking about the batch command and they say, it doesn't work, it's trash, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I think that they really just didn't explore the possibilities, and they just kind of, because I'll be honest, it's not as intuitive out the gate. You have to really be mindful of how you set this up. So I had to do the same thing. I had to kind of be mindful, like this is how you do it. This is how I set it up. So I went ahead and kind of set this up to work for my workflow. So another few things I want to kind of mention about the batch commander and about working with it in Logic is other things like adding memory sections or markers. They call them memory and stuff like that. So I can legit just add a marker just by hitting add and name that. Name that. I can open up the marker track. Let me do that first. There we go. And I can name that, verse, and then I can come here and I can add another one, and then I can go that this is a chorus, and then I can go in here, whatever. And you got your memory sections. So it works by default where I can legit just use these buttons to jump from section to section. That's really, really helpful when you're doing recording or you're doing mixing, to be able to have those memory locations set up to be able to jump to wherever you are. So I think that's really, really cool. Again, it's all about the batch commander and really kind of working and doing your flow and setting it up to what works for you. You can customize it very easily just by hitting the customize toolbar, and you get all of these options of batch commands and things that you can add in to handle different functions. So I set them up for myself, some of the ones that they had, and then I also used the function to create my own. So for instance, if I wanted to create my own batch commands, I'll go over here and just use this one as an example. If I hold down on it for like a few seconds, it gives me the option to create my own and edit this batch command. So I can choose to, clear it, and I can add a key command in, Command Shift V or whatever that key command is, and I can name that, whatever that function is inside the DAW. Or I can even use the quick list to come through here and load a layout, or load whatever key command. They have a list of quick commands. Results may vary. I'll just be honest with that. That's just a honest. I tried to load some of these. Some of them worked. I just had mixed things with it. Again, that's a user, interface type thing. So that is how you can kind of set up your own batch commands, and that's what I pretty much did to try to, make it work the way that I want and record that. And again, I got another video that's just on the batch commander where I go through all of this in explicit detail, so I won't spend a whole lot of time really dealing with like creating your own commands and doing custom commands and all of that stuff like that. But that's pretty much like the function of it. You have like the floating mixer, for instance, which is really, really cool. You can pull this up at any given moment, and you can move this around the screen and put it wherever you need. So like, if you're going through a track and you say, oh, that drum, whatever, is too loud, I can hit that and just grab a fader real quick and turn it up, turn it down, or whatever, then bounce right back out and get right back to work. I think that's really, really cool. So it's all about that functionality. They have a floating toolbar as well. I don't use that as much, but it just gives you, again, an extra set of commands that you might not be able to fit on the actual batch commander. You can pull that up, and you got essential commands and cut, copy, paste. But I created batch commands for my cut, copy, paste because I don't know, these were just too small, and I just wanted my own. That was just me, just stuff that I do. The sponsor for today's video is DistroKid, and DistroKid is a service that allows you to post all of your music on all of the digital outlets like Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, iTunes, and all of the like. So today I want to tell you about a really, really dope service that DistroKid offers, and that's the ability to add linear notes and credits to your songs. So this is the ability to be able to jump in and add like who played bass, guitar, who mixed it, who did that. You can actually add in inspiration of why you wrote the song, who did the graphic design, all of those different things like that. So this is really, really cool because I come from a day and time where there were albums and CD cases, and you can easily turn on the back or open up the case and look and see who wrote it, who played on it, who mixed it, who recorded it. And that's really, really cool to be able to do now, because some of these other services, online services, don't really tell you who wrote it and all of that, and you have to really search to figure out who was actually on whatever record that you're looking at. So I think this is a really, really cool feature that DistroKid offers. Check out the link in the description to save 7% on your first year of DistroKid. Now back to the video. So the mixer, of course, is another big function with it. Of course, you have the mixer here, and it's these faders, these big kind of 100 millimeter faders, that you can really control your mix. And it's no latency, as you can see. I'm just kind of going straight through and touch and grab. There, I don't really feel much. If it is latency, I don't really feel it. That's just the way it goes. Same goes with swiping to mute. So like I can legit like unmute these, or I can mute them just by clicking mute and swiping, and I can mute all of those tracks with one swipe. I can also do the same with solo. I can hold down solo and swipe to solo. So you have all of those kind of common functions. Record arm, no input selected, of course, duh. But you can record arm, you can do your input monitoring, you can do your automation, you can set your automation, read, write, latch, so on and so forth. So they got fine faders for doing fine automation, which is really, really cool. If you're in here, I can turn on fine faders. And what that does is when I'm moving a fader, you see how it kind of moves very quickly and very fluidly as if it was, but I can go find faders and it changes what they call the resolution of the faders. That's what they call it. And it basically doesn't move as fast, so it lets you really get fine movements with that fader, simulates that because you don't have tactile touch. And because you don't have tactile touch, if you had a real fader, you can really kind of ease and do like a half dB ride on a vocal, or on a bass, or on a track or whatever when you're writing your automation. This gives you that ability to really be fine with it and do some intricate kind of volume rides and stuff. So it's pretty cool and functional for that. You can add in like, mix tags and stuff like that for drums and all that stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to use. And then they have this, and I'll be honest, because nobody told me this. There's an internal mixer that pops up, and it's kind of funky and wonky. And what it's supposed to do is give you the opportunity to kind of overlay them over Logic's faders and be able to get bigger faders for the Logic faders. And it's supposed to look more natural, like Logic, fit better into the Logic GUI. But I could never get this to work right. I don't know if it's something that Logic did in the update. I tried to follow the instructions in the video. I couldn't get it to do it. So that could be all on me, could be all on them, it could be all on Apple. We don't know who to blame in it, but all I can tell you is it doesn't work for me. So I always default to using this mixer. And then a lot of times I just use the onboard mixer on the screen here when I'm like accessing my plugins and stuff like that. So it's still a hybrid situation. It's not all touch. It's not all mouse, but there's like this a bit, the more time you spend with it, there's like this intuitiveness that kind of grows on you of some things you touch, some things you click. It's just whatever you kind of feel. And I can't really explain it without you using it for yourself. Then you really kind of see what I'm talking about. There's just this intuitiveness. Sometimes I just want to reach up and just touch the play button up here as opposed to touching it down there. Sometimes I'm clicking. One thing I'll say with like editing, like the pinch to zoom works on zooming in on the mix or on your arrangement. 2 fingers to kind of zoom, across it, to kind of move across your arrangement, which that's cool. But and up and down, same thing with up and down, you need 2 fingers. The thing that's wonky to me sometimes is the fact that I can't like in Studio One, and I'll do a video on Studio One where I show you that. But in Studio One, I can actually do my 2 fingers to zoom, to change the track height. So I can change the track width and the track height in Studio One, but in Logic, you only have the option just to change the track width. So if I want to really get in on this wave, then I can go up here and use this. But as you can see, that's kind of wonky. So like I said, it doesn't really do the zoom track height. So I always end up just having to come up here and just kind of click and zoom in, and then so that goes back into the whole some things you click, some things you touch type situation. That's a perfect example of kind of how that works. So it's functional and it works good. I've even used Logic without the batch commander, and these functions still kind of work the same way. You know, so you don't have to use the batch commander. There's no rule that says, yes, you know, every time you open Logic, when you have this, you have to use the batch commander. It will work just fine without the batch commander, but the batch commander is that overlay kind of benefit that you have that can really, you know, add some extra functionality to what you're doing. So that's something to think about with that. I think that's pretty much the standard of my workflow here. It's just a lot of touch, a lot of click, back and forth, using the regular mixer, using the batch commander, really kind of speeding up my workflow and really doing some things that that are kind of worthwhile. So hope this video helped you. Hope they gave you some insight. Check out all the other Raven videos that I got on this channel. I also have some more upcoming ones, and if they're already available, they're down in the description. You can check them out because I'm going to cover Studio One and eventually Ableton and other DAWs and how they function and how to use the batch commander and just their workflow inside of that. So check those videos out. You know how we do on this channel: the like button, the share button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you can be notified when I do some dope stuff like this. I'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.